Yes, back by popular demand. And I mean it. A lot of people reaching out on social media and otherwise. We need to hear Kevin Hench's opinions on this fall classic. And it was a fall classic indeed. Hi and hello. And welcome to Shek Show. Eddie Spaghetti is there in his usual spot behind the glass and seated high atop show business, taking a break from making the pages that entertain you in prime time. He's going to buzz about the world of sports. And like I say, specifically, let's start right out of the gate here with Kevin Hench. For my sense, for my two cents, I should say, as I cough, I don't think we as a society are talking nearly enough about not the series overall, but specifically the ninth inning and beyond of that game seven up there in Toronto, Canada. Kevin Hench, how are you? And take it away.
I'm good, brother. And I totally agree. I don't think, I feel like so many things happened in such a compressed amount of sports time that we literally couldn't process it. We just kind of were like, oh my God, that was incredible, I guess. But like when you start to go through the actuarial millimeter by millimeter probability table of what it took for those poor Toronto Blue Jays to lose that World Series against a juggernaut. I mean, our friend Bill Simmons has the 16 levels of losing, and I think they created a new level. Just an unprecedented, my first World Series watching with my dad was the previous greatest World Series of all time, meaning the 1975 Reds World Series, which was both a 7-game series, but also filled with Hall of Famers, household names. And I, sitting there next to my dad learning about baseball. And I've probably watched 98% of the pitches thrown in World Series games since 1975. Like, I don't miss World Series games. Like, it doesn't matter who's playing. This is, obviously sports is my religion. And I just, I love high stakes, high pressure baseball. There's nothing like it. And the 7 games of high stakes, high pressure baseball, including an 18-inning game where the Dodgers got every break in an 18-inning game. If Tommy Edman doesn't make either of those throws, this is a 5-game rout. The Blue Jays are champions. But the Dodgers survive game 3, fall
Before
behind.
you go on there, I just have to say, I want you to monologue as much as possible here because your baseball thoughts are keener than mine. But that's why we watch sports, and that's why while I, you know, use advanced analytics and all of that, I think they do diminish the those moments of pressure, those singular moments that define careers and teams and eras and all the rest of it. And in that bottom of the ninth, when of game 7, just and from every moment forward, there are moments like every time the ball is put in play, if you're the fielder, like screw this one up, man, and the season is over for your team. And that I mean, but that arrived what 3 times at least, like, I mean, with runners on base, like dangerous moments where you either make the play or you lose the World Series. The number one to me was Andy Pages, and we'll get into that in a second. But the reason I interrupted you was from a historical perspective, starting in 1975. I would agree because I have watched probably half of the pitches thrown in that. Well, maybe three, maybe a third of the 75 World Series. I would nominate the 1991 World Series, the Twins and the Braves, for greatest World Series too. Of course, I couldn't start watching that series until I think it was midway through game 4 or at the start of game 5 because I had to go on strike after what happened in Fulton County Stadium when Spanky LaValliere did in fact put the tag on Sid Bream's lagging left foot there. It was a bad call at home plate. The Pirates should have been playing in that World Series, so I had to stand on principle and not watch. Anyway, 91, 75, and now the 2025 World Series. I think those are your three best,
91,
right?
91 is a great call. It is hurt aesthetically by that stadium. Like that just is
Yeah,
not,
so right.
it just doesn't feel like quite like baseball should look.
But Jack Morris, I was thinking about Jack Morris watching Yoshi in Game 7. I mean, wait, they're just
Well,
leaving him in? Wait, he's
this
going to
is
10th? He's going to the
this
11th?
is
What?
among the many things that we cannot overstate that we have not talked enough about is Yamamoto. Like, it's like, yes, guys come back on short rest. They don't throw 96 pitches and then 34 pitches and get 8 outs. I mean, like, I was laughing at the Red Sox kept thinking that Garrett Whitlock was a 2-inning reliever. Oh, we can get 6 outs from Garrett Whitlock. And it's like, it was always a train wreck when it was like, he doesn't have 6 outs in him. The idea that Yamamoto had 8 outs in him after pitching 6 innings the night before, he's 5'10", 176 pounds. And he just zips it up there at 97, unless it's the split. I mean, it's that, when you look at Koufax, Bob Gibson, historically, it's like, hey, the Dodgers won 4 games. He won 3 of them. Like, it's bonkers.
When was he getting the hook, by the way? Because I was sure around as it started, like once you get the ninth inning home run, where like, okay, if the Jays don't win this game, this is going extras. And at some point, that bullpen is going to have to consider Clayton Kershaw out on the hump. And what that would have been, the only thing that game seven lacked, in terms of drama and storylines and everything else, is what if they had to throw him into the game in the last, that would have been the last inning of his entire career. I mean, as a Pittsburgh sports fan, what I think about is Jerome Bettis, that ball popping out in Indianapolis in the divisional round in 2004 against the Colts. And that would have been the last play of his Hall of Fame career. If Nick Harper runs that into the end zone, that's how his Hall of Fame career ends. This would have been, I mean, if Clayton Kershaw had to go in there and lose the game. And really, I felt like, it's a matter of time. How long were they going to stick with Yoshi out there?
To answer your question, in order for Clayton Kershaw or Blake Trinan to be brought into that game, James Andrews would have had to go to the mound. Like, it literally, there would have had to be a scalpel in Yamamoto's arm. Like, it was like, we're going to end your career tonight, fella. It only cost us $325 million. It's cool. No, we were, all wondering what it would take, how long it would have to go. But the wild thing of the million wild things that we can't even remember, they came so fast and furious, is if the Dodgers don't wriggle out of the first impossible jam, then instead of Yamamoto winning 3 games, Blake Snell joins George Frazier of the 1981 Yankees as a 3-loss loser in a 7-game series in one of the more epic meltdowns, given that he was untouchable for the duration of the playoffs until this Jays team discovered him. Now, to put in context all the stuff we'll get to in the late innings of Game 7, you have to go back to the ball lodging under the fence in Game 6, because the fact is, if Straw scores, right? So it's like Barger's going to be on second. That's he's not going to, if the ball bounces off the wall,
right.
He's not going to get a triple, but Straw is going to score.
Right.
And then it won't be, I don't think it's going to be a first pitch pop-up. I think it's going to be a bunt to put the tying run on third with 1 out. Instead, second and third, you can't bunt, obviously, with second and third. So he swings away. Glasnow gets the pop-up to first base. Jimenez hits the line drive to Kike. A lot of debate about, probability. And I don't really, like, a lot of times Next Gen Stats says 71% chance that ball drops. Really, he caught it chest high. Well, I don't know, like, it's like, obviously that's based on usually, but as a base runner, you're allowed to see where the guy's playing. Like, you're allowed to know that was not, if the guy lays out and doubles you off, that's one thing. If the guy catches it ear high, it's a terrible base running play. Like, you can't get doubled off. But even with the well-read, he got a great jump. He was lined up. He was in a great position. He makes the catch. He gets rid of it immediately. Rojas makes a ridiculous play to field that in-between hop with a runner bearing down on him as he's backing off the bag. Crazy play to end game 6. So here ball lodges under the wall, double play, game over. Dodgers still alive. So
I was surprised that wasn't a bigger controversy, but there is a resolution apparently to it with the ball lodging. That is that it wasn't Kike Hernandez, who put their hands up immediately like that as soon as it stuck, and he immediately did that. That was huge, and that was coached behavior that morning. According to David Vassay, the Dodgers reporter for AM 570 in Los Angeles, they talked about that very thing before game 6, that the ball, we've had a knack of that ball getting lodged in there. And what you have to do as the outfielder is immediately say no play here so that the officials make it a ground rule double. I mean, that was a pretty heady play to make, given
I know it is wild.
to do that immediately, like, can't field it. Your instinct isn't, I got to make a play to save the series.
And it is, I know Sal was saying that Cespedes once did it, and they were just like, no, we don't think it's lodged. We're good. We're just gonna let him run around the bases. Like,
imagine if he's standing there like this as the Jays win the World Series.
So then we get to game 7, and it's, again, I really thought I just like Scherzer. The Red Sox shelled him at the end of the season. Like, he was getting lit up. He could not get out of a first inning unscathed during the regular season. And I was just like, this guy has got it. You talk about Kershaw. It's like, this guy's going to get, I thought this was going to be a 14-2 game. And it's like the crazy combination of the Dodgers all-star lineup not being able to hit the Blue Jays mediocre pitching, while the Blue Jays lineup of guys who played 11 years in the minors lighting up the Dodgers all-star rotation. It was so confusing. I mean, it's why the Dodgers were 4-1 favorites going into that World Series. So Scherzer comes out, and sure enough, like, the Dodgers must have hit 25 balls to the warning track in left center field in the series. Like, every time you'd be like, oh, he got it. Like, you'd see the swing, you'd see the trajectory. You're like, he got it. And then you'd see Varsho. Oh, no, he didn't quite get it. And, as we know, a 380-foot fly ball is exactly the same as popping up to the catcher. Like, okay.
Right, but the rhetoric always is in October. That ball would have gone in July, but it's cooler outside. Is the dome like that? I mean, do you suppose? I mean,
well, that was definitely the case in game 3 as the air settled into Chavez Ravine, and the Dodgers kept hitting balls to the wall until Freddie finally went deep to dead central. So anyway, so we get in. So we get the Blue Jays are up 4-2, and it looks grave. I mean, it's just there's the Dodgers just seem dead. Teo can't hit the ball hard. Muncy is an absolute cadaver. Such a clutch guy. You're like, where's this guy been? And then Muncy hits the solo shot, and you're like, oh, okay. Now, the other thread of the many text threads I was on, Simmons and I had Jeff Hoffman as our roto closer this year. So we were texting, like, is there any possibility that Jeff Hoffman, like, has a clean, like, that he just pitches a 1-2-3 ninth and the Blue Jays celebrate? It's like, that was not our experience rooting for that guy all season. And so obviously with Shohei due up third, you're like, well, this is going to be the showdown. 2 outs in the ninth, Shohei at the plate.
Can you imagine how it's set up over and over again for
one
baseball?
run game. So then, and by the way, just poor Blue Jay fans, you go back to game 3, ball 4 to Varsho. Bichette thinks it's ball 4 because Varsho throws his bat away, even though Varsho argued and then threw his bat away. And then Bichette gets picked off first because the guy's running to first. And it's like, oh, yeah, sorry. We fucked up. We fucked this up completely. That was ball 4. But now not only is Varsho out, Bichette's out too. Don't worry, this game won't go 18 innings, and that won't be the deciding factor. Like every single terrible thing that had to happen happened so that the Dodgers and their billion-dollar payroll could have another victory parade. By the way, in 1960, right, when you're a massive underdog, the way you upset a juggernaut is what the Pirates did, as you remember from your childhood, in 1960 when Mazeroski walked it off in Game 7.
Almost ruined my bar mitzvah.
The Pirates win their 4 games by a total of 7 runs. The Yankees win their 3 games by 35 runs. Like, okay, the Yankees are plus 28 in the series and lost. Who's the better team? Well, the Yankees are the better team, and the Pirates are world champs. The Blue Jays, massive underdog, outscore the Dodgers by 8 runs in the series. Like, they're the better team. Start to finish, they're better. They're better. It's so insane. We get to the 9th, and this was crazy to me. I mean, as Roberts was like, oh, okay, well, I have to mix and match, and I guess I should play Miggy Rojas at second, and like Mookie doesn't really hit anymore. And like, it was so weird going, oh, the Dodgers lineup is shallow. Like, it doesn't go that deep. Like, Muncy's not hitting. Pages absolutely vanished. He was like 8 for his last 83 in the season. Could not hit the ball hard. So then they're like, we got to bench Pages, play Rojas at second, play Edman in center, and then when Miggy comes up in the 9th, there's a little bit like Raja Davis homering off Araldis for the Guardians tribe, Indians. I'm like, is this billion-dollar payroll Miggy Rojas is going to take this at bat in the 9th inning of a 1-run game?
I couldn't believe it, but I thought what that was one of those distractions with so much going on in that game. Forget the series, but just in that game, in the moments and the high leverage stakes and all that, was like, I could forgive it in that moment because you knew Ohtani was on the way, and that was the climax to the series, one way or the other, you figured. And so I was like, you let it go, and then he hits the go ball.
No, but Miggy Rojas, I mean, if you watch that guy's career, like, you're like, this is a 0% chance of something good happening. Manny Mota now would have a better chance of getting on base than Miggy Rojas. Like this is not acceptable that this is what your season comes down to. And on 2-2, I tell my mom, who I'm watching the game with, of course, that Miggy is in swing mode.
I loved it 50 years, a half a century after your first World Series with your late old man. You're sitting there with your delightful mom watching this fall classic. That's
of course.
Anyway.
Of course. So then I tell my mom, because no one else in my family gives a shit about baseball, I tell my 85-year-old mom that Miggy is in swing mode. And if he bounces a split, there is no way he's taking it. Like, he's in like protect, panic, defense, and you just have to bury the split. So then on 2-2.
And she's like, you just read my mind, Kevin.
You read my mind. Just delighted by my analysis. So on 2-2, Hoffman misses up and in, which that is a pitch you might not chase. So now it's 3-2. And then he throw. I still think if he throws one in the dirt, he's good, but he throws kind of a cement mixer slider, gets too much of the plate, and Miggy does the Raja Davis and yanks one down the line for the most improbable home run in World Series history.
Well, I got to go back now because that was the other one. Jack Morris came to mind, and the Odell Beckham comp is coming up with Andy Pajes in a second here, except that Odell Beckham didn't do that with 48 seconds left in the Super Bowl, didn't make that one-handed catch. That's the distinction there.
So,
But the 78 one-game playoff, I mean, that was as improbable. That was a Bucky Dent home run, right? I think it exists.
I don't recall.
Okay, but for the rest of it, I think that will live. As we get away from it, we're going to look back and be like, what the hell? What the hell happened there?
What the hell? No, when you look at when Miggy Rojas retires in about 18
Miggy F and Rojas, right?
Yeah, you'll look at that baseball card and go, what the hell happened? But so then, yeah, so you're tied, and now you have to go back into the Thunderdome, and the Blue Jays load the bases with one out. Now, so Varsho hits the ball, the one hopper, like, and it is tough when you're playing in, like everything changes, right? Everything gets on you faster.
Right.
It was funny when Muncy, another crazy play, when Jimenez squares and then swings away and hits the line drive at Muncy, and they're like, Muncy's life flashed before his eyes. It's like, he's still 20 feet further away than the pitcher is on every pitch. Like, it is true that you're like, oh my God, the third baseman almost got killed when the guy didn't bunt. But you're like, the pitcher is always 60 feet from that guy. Anyway, so the bases are loaded. Varsho hits the ball, and Miggy is like, he's staggered by it, right? He's like, it's weird. He's like awkward. And like, is he going to make a decent throw after that awkward stagger? Sure.
Well, Hench is the best guy I can think of among civvies to have this conversation. Dameshek in Little League, first base deeds notwithstanding. You play as a grown-up. You've played adult baseball and softball, and you're a pretty slick shortstop like we've talked about before. But yeah, especially drawn in like that, it's not by the second, it's by the 100th of a second. And if the ball makes you turn to change your balance, it's sort of like, it's the reason why left-handed people like myself can never play third corner also, and in my case, third base, and in my case, because I don't have the athletic ability to do it. But even athletic lefties can't play third base because you can't make that physical pivot, and that's what Rojas had to do, right? Like, he had to field the ball here and then get back into throwing position, which is what caused him to hurry himself and give himself an extra delay by kind of fumbling the ball there.
So he rights himself, and then he makes this throw, and it's like, and the throw clearly beats the runner, and it's like, oh my God, that's a crazy play. But none of us have any idea of how crazy it is, because none of us know that Will Smith's cleat has come off the plate. Now, I am an opponent of the electron microscope replay. Like, I love replay, but this thing where the guy steals second easily and you hold the glove on him to see if any molecule separates from the base, like, that is not the point of replay. The point of replay is to correct all of Angel Hernandez's missed calls to keep, to make sure the right team wins the World Series.
You and our pal Jeff Schwartz parked your cars in the same garage. We had this very conversation on Football America earlier this week.
So we're like, oh, now we're going in with the electron microscope, and fucking Will Smith's cleat comes off the plate. And then when you see the cleat lift off the plate, you're like, oh, well, that play was so close. When I assumed his cleat was on the plate, there's no way he got his cleat back down.
How did that happen, right?
Before this guy's cleat hits the black of the plate, like, and then you're like, is this how the World Series is going to end?
Another historical sports comp, Brett Hall in '99. I mean, it was like, and how thoroughly unsatisfying that was for the hockey world. That's what I mean, I know obviously the Jays fans would have celebrated in the moment if they're like, upon further review, the catcher's foot left home plate, the runner is safe. This World Series goes to the Toronto Blue Jays. That would have been such a bizarre 30 seconds.
It would have been like Dancing with the Stars, and the winner is Toronto Blue Jays. So now, I mean, I
Don't
I
you
do
say in the
real talk.
moment, don't you do like the kid in that one commercial about integrity or whatever? And don't you go like, if you're Russell or Vlad Guerrero, you go like, nah, he's out. We'll play on. We're not taking the run. We're not ending
Well,
the series this way.
so I was, I don't, unlike you, I don't like dynasties, and I certainly don't like dynasties where there's no salary cap. I mean, the Patriots dynasty is one thing; it's a hard salary cap. This thing the Dodgers have done is, I think, Dave Roberts goes, they say we're ruining baseball. Yeah, because you're ruining baseball. You're buying everyone's MVP, and you're just overpaying, and you're like, it doesn't matter. Money has no meaning. We'll defer it. Like it's so gross. It's actually, as we've discussed, much worse than the Yankee dynasty with their homegrown core. It's like, oh, remember when Mookie and Freddie Freeman and Shohei were coming up through our system? It's gross. And then it's like, and we'll get Yamamoto, then we'll get a deal on Sasaki because now we're the team of Japan. And it's like also gross. So the only way to ameliorate the bummer of a super team buying another championship is to bet on them. So I had bet on the Dodgers early in the playoffs, got a good price. Then after game 5, I couldn't believe how long the odds were on Yamamoto because I was like, well, if he wins game 6 and then the Dodgers win game 7, unless Shohei has a really good game, Yamamoto is going to be the MVP of this series if he's 2-0. So I'm like, so now I'm so happy that I've bet on the Dodgers and Yamamoto to win World Series MVP, because otherwise I would have been fucking depressed watching every shitty thing that had to happen to the Blue Jays. This totally scrappy team where like, hey, we got that fat guy from the Mexican League for $7,500. Hey, this guy played in the minors for 11 years. Like, it's the most likable team ever put together against a team of mercenary billionaires.
Shout out to Kirk, one of the especially. I mean, what we perceive as fat guys from our youth, like Pete Vukovich, go back at like the Brewers in '82, Cy Young, and all that. You in my brain, he's a fat guy, or even Pop Stargell. But when you dig up pictures of them, they're not that fat. They don't really look that big. Kirk in 2025 is an actual pot belly fat guy. By the way, I have to quickly shout out one of our listeners, Brian McP. I don't want to give his full name in case he doesn't want the shout out. He got into my DMs. He's upset with you and me because he loves the show, but he resents us calling the Dodgers the evil empire. And I said, well, that's what they are. Anybody at the top of the mountain who is winning, who's making the postseason because of the investment in the biggest superstars, that they're going to catch that title. It's ultimately sort of a compliment, I guess, because you're a dynasty, but obviously the Yankees wore that, the Red Sox wore it, and now so do the Dodgers. Let's not argue about shared reality here. Anyway, I just wanted to give that shout out.
You have to embrace it when you're the evil empire. You
exactly.
Have to go, yeah.
Your cross to bear is that you're unsatisfied if you don't win the World Series, which is what's fascinating about the Dodgers. This is the deal you make with the devil. As George Steinbrenner knows, and the Red Sox for stretches, and a few other clubs out there, the Florida Marlins with their 2 titles, in fact, deserve the same thing. Okay, you can do what you're doing, but your fans and you are going to be sick in the balls forever if you do anything less than win the World Series, and that's a tough spot to put yourself into.
I mean, we're heading to a lockout because of the Dodgers. So anyone defending them being called like the evil empire is absurd to me.
Literally ruining baseball.
Yeah.
And
we should have an international draft too, which also I think should be like the number one thing they talk about. Because Hench, you just brought it up with Yamamoto, who, by the way, now when he signed the contract, 26 years old, 325 million, like underpaid. He's a $500 million pitcher because of what he just did in the postseason. He's still 27 years old.
He is?
Yeah.
Yamamoto? I thought he was 34.
I thought he was 27 years old. I just looked it up. Having all these guys come over. Yeah, he's born in 98. have all these guys coming over from Japan. Of course, they want to play with their country mates, whatever. They have to have some sort of international draft. And like Luka Doncic didn't just go, like he went through the NBA draft. He couldn't just pick who he wanted to sign with, and they're going to just keep loading up on all these guys. I mean, of course, I'm angry by it because the Yankees spent over $300 million for him, but this guy proved like to have the regular season he did and then do what he did in the postseason. Yeah, I mean, Dodgers just got to own it. You got to wear it. Like you're causing baseball to go into a lockout, and you're probably forcing us to have an international draft because I don't see a Japanese player wanting to go play for the Rockies or the Twins anytime soon.
The worst thing Japan has done to America since December 7th, 1941. True?
Maybe rough. Maybe
Okay.
maybe
So-
hyperbolic.
So
All right, let's get to it.
okay. So now, so it's like 400 replays. The cleat maybe comes back down. Like I don't know. Then I went deep.
Oh, he was definitely out.
But I went deep into the Zapruder film of Isaiah Connor Falefa's non-lead and non-secondary lead. Like it's the craziest thing. Like
Good. Forced himself off the Pirates.
He was
Good.
shorter than like the regular season average lead, and this was in a World Series Game 7.
once he's nowhere near the bag, like
he put the glove on, the oven mitt that we were just making fun of last show, and he slid feet first. If he went head first, there's a chance that he makes it because the glove is oversized, and like that's the whole point of wearing the glove. And he was a pinch runner. Of course,
hamburger helper mitt on the plate. Anyway, so that's just another like detail of like, oh, that millimeter you would have won the World Series by? Yeah, that guy got a shitty lead and a shitty secondary lead. Although, he was very fast once he got going, but obviously it was too late. So now there's two outs.
Do they outlaw the oven mitt if that's the margin of victory for the Jays? Like if he dives and gets it, like we can't have that.
They shorten the regulation maybe.
But if he took one more step, it's like the mid or hand, it would have beat him. Like
I know, but specifically that would have been a terrible look for baseball. That stupid oven mitt was the.
But it's got it would have to the mitt should have to go on your hand. You can't do the OJ thing of like I can't. It's just gonna stick out 5 extra inches because I can't. There's nothing I can do.
Just hold the oven mitt by your fingertips and stick it way out. Like you could really get loose with this thing, right?
So prior to Varsho's grounder to Miggy, Roberts, who you have to say when you are on a 7-game tightrope and any decision can cost you the World Series, and I know Dodger fans have forgotten how much they hated this guy for a long time. Because now he's the man. He's like, you know what? Pages, cadaver, can't hit, better arm than Edman, gonna make the substitution. He gives us an extra 25 feet possibility of throwing the runner out at home. Meanwhile, Edman with the 2 unbelievable throws as a second baseman in Game 3. Only reason we're in Game 7. Pages is in center field. And Clement, who I think probably surpassed Vladdy as the MVP. Like he just hit a missile every time he came up. Except
certainly is the MVP if that ball hits the ground,
that ball lands. And when he hit it, you're like, oh, well, he got under it. He's a little guy. Like that ball can't go. And then you see the 2 outfielders dead sprint with their back to the mound. You're like, oh my God, is this? And there was some moment where I'm like, oh, Kike's not getting it's like it's Kike's ball and he's not gonna get there. Now, when you see the replay, you're like, he could have Willie Mays. Did he seem to have it measured? And then Pages comes in, and you're like, we've all been there. When a ball splits the outfielders, you can't say somebody's got to call that. It's just 2 guys fucking running their tits off trying to get there. When they collide, that ball never gets caught. That ball always finds dirt. Like it's like they just smash into each other, and Pages, has it safely put away. Then goes, should I pick up my teammate that I may have or may not have killed? And so the World Series goes on. You're like, this is insane. This is insane. Will Smith, super clutch. Obviously broke his hand late in the season. Took him a while to get going, but then once he did, like, what kind of a luxury to have that guy catch every inning and then his bat comes back to life.
I have to stop you. Okay, you want to celebrate Will Smith, and we only have a few minutes left, but I just want to say very quickly, that play, the Pages play, I don't understand. It's like 72 hours or so as we record since that play happened. Why isn't it immediately one of the all-time sports plays? Or why isn't it being discussed on that level? That was insane. The World Series is over if he doesn't make that play and he gets in his, because maybe you can be optimistic, and I'm sure people who do the thing about how far the ball traveled for the home run can figure out if Kike had a line on that. Reminder, the accent mark over the E in Kike is the most significant accent mark in sports right now. But he goes to make that basket catch. I'm sure they could track if the ball was going to go into his mitt, but I have my doubts that he's going to Willie Mays it with the series on the line. So Pages, who, as you say, is a human being and knows he's been a flop at the plate and has really let his team down, now gets installed over Tommy Edman. I mean, what a thing for Roberts to make that call, for it to so quickly become relevant that he made that switch in the moment he did, and for him to complete the play over Kike, who really did his best to screw things up. I know you could say, whose ball is it? You know, Pages taking the bull by the horns and like, I'm going up to get this thing or shame the devil, and doing is the Odell Beckham one-handed catch, except that the World Series was on the line.
It's Bill Belichick saying, like, Kyle Arrington doesn't have it today. I'm going to put this undrafted free agent named Malcolm Butler into the game. Well, all he does is win the championship.
Great comment.
By the way, Pages, that would be a great statue. Pages with Kiki, just the two of them outside Dodger Stadium in bronze, that moment. By the way, the great thing about America right now is neither the left nor the right gives a shit if we put the acute accent on Kike. They like it the other way. They like it the other way. They're totally fine with it. These fucking assholes that were flanked by. Oh, well. And so we move on. So the game, Will Smith hits his home run, and you're like, all right, well, other than the fact that Yamamoto's arm has got to be about ready to fall off, this has got to be it. This is the World Series. Like, the Blue Jays can't get off this mat. They've just, Sugar Ray Robinson has put him down 5 times. Like, this has got to be it. So then Yamamoto and Vladdy have this crazy showdown where Yamamoto is just turning in the World Series performance for all time. He throws a 97-mile-an-hour fastball off the plate inside. It's such a crazily good location with so much on it. And Vladdy keeps his hands inside the ball and keeps the ball fair and hits a double. You're like, no way, no way.
That's when I knew Kershaw was coming in. I was like, this is how this ends, and this is like Shakespearean level kind of stuff.
You're gonna tie this game. So then Vladdy's on second. I believe is IKF who has come in for Bichette, who can't run. And this kept happening, right? In every game, it's like, okay, we got to get rid of the guy who hit the 3-run bomb to dead center. Why? His knee's bummed up. Well, how often is his replacement going to come up? Over and over and over again. So IKF is up there. He lays down a fantastic bunt, by the way. Underrated play by Yamamoto to get to that bunt and throw a seed to first. 1 out, runner on third, tying run at third, and Barger's coming up. And this guy, I mean, is he going to hit 330 with 35 home runs next year? Like, he just looks awesome. Like, everything is a seed, bombs, his arm in right field. Like, this guy is for real. And I'm like, why are they pitching to him? The fat guy's on deck. I could not believe they went through the motions of the intentional walk, because even on 3-0, if that pitch gets any of the plate, this guy's so locked in. I do think that was a mistake by Roberts. That was crazy to pretend to pitch to that guy when they should have just given him 4. So now Kirk comes up. Now you've got the fatty, but he's done nothing but hit missiles all playoffs long. And the specific missile he's hit, which Mariners fans will be bummed out to remember, is anything middle to outer half, he's crushing the opposite way. He's hitting everything down the line, over the second baseman's head, just bullets the opposite way. I don't know if he was sitting heater, which nobody should be in these days because nobody throws fastballs anymore except for the 97-mile-an-hour fastball to Vladdy. So he throws the split at 92, and it's in the spot that Kirk has been hitting everything to right field all playoffs long. But he's out in front of it, breaks his bat, and as soon as he hits it, it's like you know exactly where that's going to take the shortstop. You know how slow he is. It's over the way a no-doubter home run. The way Shohei's 490-foot home run. You're like, the World Series is over as soon as he hits it. There's no way there won't be 2 outs made. There's no way that the second consecutive game of a World Series will end on a double play. And to take it back to something you said earlier, that play as a shortstop, that's the play you want. You want the ball taking you to second base. You don't have to flip it to your buddy. You step on second. You throw to first, slow runner. And I played, when I moved out here, my day job and night job was softball. I just played in every softball league. I couldn't believe that in December you could be playing softball at night in a t-shirt. I was like, I've come to the greatest place in the world. Both sides of the hill just filled with softball leagues, fast pitch, slow pitch, modified, unlimited arc. I'm just like, I'm going to play. I would play in leagues. Guys in other teams would be like, hey man, you want to join my team in another league? And I'm like, yep, you're damn right I do. Let's go. I got Thursday night open. What? So I was playing in the Santa Monica
How you make it in show business. Play a lot of softball.
I was playing in the Santa Monica Lawyers League. It was one of the rare games. I don't know if these guys, I don't know if they were actual lawyers, but it was one of the rare games that Heather came to. It would have been very early in our courtship. She was there with her friend Deirdre in the bleachers. And it's the championship game of the Santa Monica Lawyers League. And I get that exact ball. And I step on second. I throw to first. We win the championship on the 6 unassisted 3 double play. And I'm like, it's not that hard to play, but I'm kind of the hero. And I look up and my girlfriend, bride to be, she's just laughing with her friend. They are not watching. I'm sure Mookie Betts' wife was watching. I'm sure she was watching. Anyway, so the Dodgers win against all odds.
So she treated you the way the Red Sox treated Mookie, in other words.
She total disdain for my day job. So Yamamoto after game 5, the scroll went by, it said plus 1,500 for MVP. I was like, that can't be. By the morning, it was plus 1,200. I think everybody was like, oh, that's too high. 1,500 is too high. 1,200. By the time I got on that bet, it was all the way down to plus 850. But that's still a very nice, almost 9-to-1 return on. And again, when Mookie makes that play, I don't have to wait for the votes to be tabulated. I announced to my mom, that guy's the MVP.
We're going to Sizzler.
We're going to Sizzler. So that cashes. The Dodgers to win the World Series cashes. That ameliorates my pain of the.
All right, ameliorate my pain. Are you taking the Patriots as the number 1 seed?
Not the 1 seed. The schedule it picks up a little bit. I think this is going to be tough this weekend at Tampa Bay, especially if we're down Butte, that's a big miss.
Make a trade. It's the trade deadline as we record. There's still room.
By the way, speaking of the trade deadline, well, a couple things. We're going to talk football for 2 minutes. So
Fantasy football, our
no,
division's getting hot. The
yeah,
fantasy football league, Ham and Trevor are running away with the division, but the rest of us are locked up at 4-5. It's going to
six
be a
teams
fight
are
to the
4-5.
finish.
But okay, a couple things about the NFL. One, how often do seventh round picks make the roster and impact the roster? And how do you get actual able-bodied players for seventh round picks? I just don't understand. I mean, obviously the Cowboys, Logan Wilson's not gonna turn the shitty Cowboys around. It just the Cowboys, I think last night was more of a disgrace than giving up 37 points to Russell Wilson. Like you could not get Jacoby Brissett off the field until the game was over. Like you were helpless against Jacoby Brissett. Anyway, so now you start to see, the Ravens raiding the Titans to get an edge rusher, the Eagles getting Jalen Phillips. Like teams are starting to, and you're sitting there and you're going like, hey guys, if the price is a fifth, sixth, or seventh round draft pick, feel free to fucking improve our very thin edge rushers and inside linebackers.
We got a big announcement coming. I can tell
of
from
trades,
Eddie Spaghetti.
I would
Kyler
not.
Murray, right? Kyler Murray
It's
too.
bigger than that. I would not interrupt Hench, but the Jets traded Sauce Gardner for 2 first-round picks to the Colts.
Oh, wow.
Jesus.
I don't know how to react to that. Sauce Gardner. What are the Jets doing? The Jets are Jetson again. For what? For 2 firsts?
Two first. Oh wow, and
Ah.
Rashid Shaheed to the Seahawks.
Well, you can't take a pause like when you
sorry.
know the Steelers are waiting to get a receiver.
Because
You can't start the next team.
I saw the picture of him. I saw the picture of him. I didn't know what team.
Steelers, and then you said Seahawks.
Yeah, sorry. No, I saw the picture first. I saw Rashid Shaheed. Didn't see what team. But so yeah, Shaheed
You
to
better
the.
have Jalen Waddle on this team by the time that clock strikes midnight, or shame the devil. Better get somebody. Calvin Ridley. Go ahead.
You guys carry on with the trade deadline. I got to rock. World Series for the ages. The best World Series game ever played to end the best World Series ever played. That's my final word.
Strong. There he goes. He's just not even going to wait for a response. He's out. Make sure you're checking out shifting gears.
Yes.
Shifting gears. Yes, with Tim Allen. The great Kevin Hench, everybody. All right, let's wrap it up here, Eddie Spaghetti, you and me. We've gone almost an hour, but I do want to talk about, first of all, I mean, you know what sucks is I've said before, I'm one of those people who doesn't play the lottery when it's worth like, whatever it's, $2 billion or whatever.
I'm the same.
I don't buy a ticket because it's not worth the anxiety it gives me that like I buy it. And then I'm like, well, this is, you got to, take your shot and all that kind of stuff. But then I can't help myself. And then I start spending the money and what my new life is going to be. And then they announce the numbers and it hits me like a punch in the gut does. That's how I was thinking watching the Penguins up in Toronto on Monday night, thinking like, oh, I'm glad we're recording tomorrow because what these Pittsburgh Penguins are doing right now is remarkable stuff. And they've bridged into the next era with their first round draft pick, Ben Kindle, who is the next kid Junior and all of that. Up 3-0, and then they give up 4 goals in the third period. And now I'm devastated, and it reminded me why I don't play the lottery because now I'm sick that I don't get to talk about it, but I just talked about it. So let's instead talk about the state of college football because you are buzzing. I gather from your social media feed and otherwise that your central focus in sports these days is the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Give us a gut check on where you are with this team. By the way, they have to play the Pitt Panthers, who ain't jive. I think the Irish will win that game, but all of a sudden, Pitt's not terrible. They have a true freshman in the age of NIL and all of that. They have a Pittsburgh kid who 6 months ago was playing high school football and is now proving to be not just the difference for Pitt, but I mean, he's really lighting it up in college football. But Notre Dame, that's one of a couple of tests they have remaining. They should make the playoff at this point. How say you?
100%. I mean, I think they should make the playoffs and having these conversations, and it's still early, but having people like Danny Cannell is a good one that came to mind that like, they shouldn't be ranked over Miami or they shouldn't be in the playoff. It's like, are we forgetting what happened last year? Like the same conversation happened last year when they lost to NIU, and then what happened? They went on a run, had a fantastic finish to the regular season, and then they beat Indiana, who is a quality football club as we see. I think Georgia, even with Gunnar Stockton, with Carson Beck injured, but still beating Georgia was really like the signature win of Marcus Freeman's career. And then they go and have to play a really tough, arguably better team than Georgia, the Penn State team last year, and you go and beat them. And then you come out and score a touchdown in the opening drive versus Ohio State, a $30 million roster in Ohio State with Riley Leonard. I mean, they went on a run last year and made it through the playoff. Like this team this year has a significantly better quarterback in CJ Carr than Riley Leonard last year. And then the running attack with Jeremiah Love and Jadavion Price has been awesome. They played an atrocious game versus Boston College and still outrushed them for they outgained them 200 yards, missing field goals, missing multiple extra points, awful ACC refereeing job. Like even the beat writers are getting on their case, which we didn't even get into with Hench, but just some awful refereeing around college football. So yeah.
By the way, it is weird that I can't believe that you and me were arguing about Notre Dame kind of sort of being like a pseudo ACC team and on some weird level a few years ago. And we're still kind of having that conversation. It's super weird that they're always dipping their toes into those ACC waters.
Because there are other sports play.
I get it, but I'm just saying it's weird that it still goes on, but then they should just be in the conference then. But Notre Dame, as we've discussed, gets to play by its own rules. The ACC, how many teams is it getting now? I mean, who's getting in from the Georgia Tech is definitely going to go now? I mean,
Georgia Tech's
the
good.
ACC,
Virginia's good.
You almost wish if Georgia Tech loses, which I suspect they will at some point, you really wish there weren't automatic bids almost. People complain about, 8 and 9 teams winning a division and making the NFL playoffs. I mean, I think we're tracking towards that with the ACC this year. There's some B minus teams, but there's nobody who really deserves to be playing for the national title unless Georgia Tech. Maybe I'm being a little bit curmudgeonly about the Ramblin' Wreck, but I suspect that Cinderella's going to fall before they get to the postseason. So then, if that happens, I don't know who really deserves to go. Sure ain't Miami.
No, and I think, Miami did themselves favors by playing Notre Dame week 1, like a freshman quarterback in the rain at home. They played the first bulk of their schedule, not even leaving the state of Florida. I do think Miami's good. I think Miami's a ton of NFL guys. Like their offensive line, and obviously Bain is good, and Beck's going to get a look, and they got some really good receivers. But
Bain might be the number 1 overall pick after all the talk about, there's the greatest quarterback class coming ever. It's not even going to be a QB at 1 overall.
I think if they play Notre Dame this week or something, and I think Notre Dame would win because Carr is just the playbook's open and he's just playing a lot better. But Georgia Tech's lot, they lose to NC State, and Notre Dame smoked NC State. It's very strange how the schedule worked out. But I think Georgia Tech's offense, even though Haynes King is awesome as a quarterback, he's a better version of Riley Leonard. But the passing attack, they're just still kind of one-dimensional, and I think that the better teams could kind of hang with them and beat them. But I like Duke beating Clemson. It's just the ACC is wacky. It's not what we expected at all, really.
And the SEC, by the way, okay, so you have A&M. I mean, the SEC for. Well, the SEC, they should have, but they didn't, and that's the strike. I mean, Notre Dame
a bad missed holding call on the touchdown that they would have been pushed back, and again, it's just back to refereeing. Obviously, Notre Dame had kicking issues in that game too. So,
you still should wind up in there, but the buzz around the Irish would be very different if they do pull that game out, which they were a whisker away from doing. With the but like I say, I think another sort of undercovered story, because people talk themselves and have for a decade or 2 decades or whatever about the greatness of the SEC and how it's so much better than every other conference. It's kind of like you have to kind of ignore reality to keep that ball in the air at this point. There's been 2 years now where it's clearly not the best conference anymore, even if it does still have the most NFL talent out there. As we've talked about, I hate people who root for conferences. What was Eddie Spaghetti? I was curious thinking about this, watching Game 6. Where was your head in the World Series I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. I mean, was it Alien Predator for you? AL East versus the Los Angeles Dodgers?
Well, I'll try not to rehash stuff that like Hench talked about, but every minute that went by, I was changing my thoughts because I despise the Dodgers and what they did to baseball. And I know before Dodgers fans were like, hey, what about the Yankees? Like, again, we've hashed it out in this podcast that the Yankees had a core group. The Yankees never deferred money. I mean, the Dodgers are deferring $1 billion. Like, it's like, oh, Tony's getting paid into the 2040s. It is insane they're doing that. And then because
All
now
right, the Yankees are been no saints historically either. I mean, there's a great inequity there versus
the Yankees were
the
paying
Pirates
other
and
the
whatever.
George was paying other teams luxury tax because they couldn't afford it. Like
I get
it's
it.
not
I'm
this-
just
it's
saying.
not-
I mean,
not the same
there's
thing.
no. I know, but there's no Cheers without I Love Lucy, and there's no Family Guy without The Simpsons, and so on. You need building blocks to get to a point. Without the Yankees, there are not this era of Dodgers.
The Dodgers fans don't want to hear, but they're just unlikable, and it's unlikable because Ohtani is not liked. I like the Dodgers fans are obviously love him. International fans love him, but to the average baseball fan who roots for your team, and then you see how like
is that right? You think
I-
Ohtani's? I think they're
I
big
think Ohtani
three.
I think
They're
Ohtani is
mercenary.
not loved
I
because
think
of the
Kershaw
gambling stuff.
isn't. I think Kershaw's not loved. I think that, and
I
the
mean,
brand
people a
is a
couple years
dynasty,
ago-
so people are resentful of it. But Mookie is likable. Freddie Freeman is likable.
Well, I hate
and
Mookie because
Ohtani.
he was a Red Sox. Freddie Freeman,
Okay.
like again, like you're on the Braves and like whatever. And so his whole like story of why he left the Braves and the issues with his agent, it's kind of been debunked. But whatever. Like I like being the mercenary guy. Like it's not like I'm like rooting for Freddie Freeman, but I think Ohtani. And again, whether Dodger fans want to realize this or not, like the gambling stuff just still does not make any sense. Like it does not make any sense for a guy to have access to your bank accounts and you didn't know about it. It does not make sense for bookies to payroll a guy who is not making the money that Ohtani's making. It does not make any sense, and he's going to jail now because of you, because you want to be protected. And then like it's just not a likable thing. The contract being deferred, not likable. Like it's just that's the way it is. And then like seeing if it's a game on Fox or even it's the official MLB account on Twitter, whatever it is, and they're everything is like Ohtani 3 bats away, Ohtani deep fly out to left field. Like it's like who cares? Like promote other players, promote everyone else who's good, and bring up stars from the other smaller markets to get people to watch because people do care about baseball. It's proven.
I know, but
this
you
World
get
Series-
why they do it that way. I mean, that's
I get it, but it's like it does kind of when somebody's shoved in your face this much, you're kind of just like, all right, enough already. Like
absolutely right, and that's why people hate dynasties. But without fail, they're going to do that. This isn't akin to like ESPN going all in on Shedeur Sanders, the third string quarterback. This is the greatest player in the history of people that they're talking about. Babe Ruth is playing.
I would push back. There's Twitter accounts that count how many times the MLB official social media handles push out Ohtani and like they show the numbers of him compared to everyone else. And it's not like there's not other stars. Like I mean, Cal Raleigh had a fantastic season in terms of home runs for the Mariners. He's gonna finish second in the MVP. I mean, Judge had another unbelievable offensive season. There's guys across everywhere that are just been fantastic. And like he also was not good in the playoffs. And I'm not even trying to poop on him. It just they're not a likable team. He's not really a likable player. And I hated that they did things like Hench pointed out, like not scoring as many runs and not really they're not hitting the ball really at all for 1 through 9. But then they somehow win these games. And Dave Roberts, like he made the changes you have to make, and managers don't do that. When you have a lineup like that and you have a pitching rotation like that, it was like the joke Yankee fans used to make, like back when Joe Torre was manager, he would just fall asleep in the dugout because you didn't have to do anything. You write the lineup card, you hand it over, and you're like, all right, see you later. Roberts is literally doing the stuff that these bigger ball clubs don't change stuff from game to game and just going with his gut instead of over the analytics stuff. Like I salute you to that. So like that.
No,
was fine.
you know what? I think that's a really interesting psychological point. That definitely is true for me. I mean, I didn't feel that with what you're talking, but it is. There's a weird irony that the Dodgers are built on the sluggers, the mercenary sluggers, and it didn't come down to that. No. They were passengers for these iconic performances over 7 games. What I always think about what that was, I always thought, do we have to mythologize the greatest show on turf when it flopped for long stretches in their Super Bowl run? Mm-hmm. I mean, they beat the Titans. Kurt Warner makes the all-time throw as Kearse hits his arm and Isaac Bruce catches it, but Mike Jones makes the tackle. What we know about the greatest show on turf winning the Super Bowl against the Titans is the tackle at the end of the game, not the superhuman offense that we saw all season long. I'm with you. I thought it was weird that it's like, if the Rams ain't gonna destroy the Buccaneers in the title game, they won one of the all-time weirdest games you'll ever see. In '99, I know exactly what you're getting at. I was vaguely resentful of like, so do we have to sing songs about them still if they sort of benefited from things that didn't get them to where they are? It's sort of like the Steelers winning Super Bowl 9 48 to 46. It's like, what are they, the steel curtain, or are they not? Like, I get exactly what you're talking about.
And like the other side of things with the Blue Jays, and the reason, so to answer your question, I think because of the sentiment towards the towards the Dodgers, and everyone's kind of angry with them that we're kind of heading towards the lockout in 2027, and we should have an international draft. And I feel like enough people who are really hardcore baseball fans are like, yeah, like they won, but they're doing things this kind of way. Like we're not like equating this to like a COVID title, but it is kind of just like, it's kind of gross in a way. That being said, Dave Roberts, great job, and like they somehow came on top, like winning. The Blue Jays won. Like, I'm a selfish baseball fan, so I'm thinking what is best for me as a Yankees fan. What will get the Yankees to start acting like the Yankees again? I don't think Hal Steimer will ever change. So I think the Blue Jays winning and being like the new kid in the block that has a title, and obviously the Red Sox have won in my lifetime multiple times, which is the worst thing of all time. But I would hate that. I would hate the Blue Jays, like, and then there would be I think a lot more positive reaction to it. Like baseball fans would be like, "Oh, this is nice," and a Canadian team won, and like there would be a whole like. I think with the Dodgers winning, it's kind of like, all right, that section, that Southern California, that little box, they'll enjoy it, but everyone else is like, all right, like pitchers and catchers in 100 days, like let's just like people don't want to like think or deal with it. So to have a World Series winner not be in the AL East, I think ultimately I'm happy with that, and plus not to make Blue Jays fans feel worse. But with like Bichette being a free agent, Shane Bieber's going to be a free agent. Like they're going to lose a lot of guys. Like if you look at the World Series odds, Dodgers are the favorites, Yankees are second. The Blue Jays are not in the top like 5. I don't even think so.
You and I have had this conversation offline and on the show. People get it sideways, and I understand why, because that's the society that we've lived in our entire lives until recently, where more than it's ever been. Did you see Jerry Jones and Stephen A sharing the luxury box? That it is about the grotesquely wealthy, keeping up with the grotesquely wealthy. And where that applies to MLB is the Dodgers and the Yankees. That's their peer. That's Stephen A and Jerry Jones having a conversation. I think you're absolutely right. I think that, but it also had to tweak the Yankees, to your point a little bit, that as it goes, and the Yankees obviously loom always in baseball conversations for obvious reasons, the ultimate dynasty, is that people always reference them to create a comparison. And for what it's worth, there were a lot of people during the broadcast saying, like, the Jays have shown out better than the Yankees did last year, at least. At least the Jays can hold their head high that they gave this Dodgers team a better test than the Yankees did a year ago. I don't know why that would matter, but I hear you. I could see Steinbrenner. I could see the Yankees being like, this is embarrassing. There's more buzz about the team from Canada. Yeah. They're in our division. I could see that spurring them to try and do something.
I thought it would spark something if like they won, but then like even just hearing like the wrap up season comments from like Cashman and Steinbrenner, like they're not going to change their ways. So it's like if the Blue Jays won, it would just be hell for Yankees fans because someone else in your division besides the Red Sox won something. And I had to deal with that a little bit with the Rays, although the Rays have like no fans, but like the Rays being good for that couple year stretch and making the World Series, like that wasn't fun, but the noise wasn't as loud. The Blue Jays noise was pretty loud. Like they have a fan base, like they are, obviously like everyone in Canada is like rooting for them. So that, yeah, I kind of convinced myself, like I found myself kind of rooting for the home team because like the fans, and I know what that feels like if like IKF is like this far away from like touching home plate and like I would have killed myself if I was a Blue Jays fan. I spent $13,000, whatever it was, to sit it there, and you go into like you think about all
jumping out. We had somebody jump out of the hotel room.
God. Like I literally have to look up if there's like a sports psychologist for just fans, not for the athletes. But I feel bad for all of them, and if the Dodgers lost, I would not feel nearly as bad with Dodgers fans because they won last year and they won a couple years before that. So it's fine. Dodgers win, like, and I'm happy for the state of baseball. Like it's a weird thing to care about, but like being the Game 7 of this series versus Game 7 of Thunder and Pacers, like being 53% better than basketball's game seven. Not I'm not trying to poo-poo basketball, but baseball needed like a lift, and it kind of got that. So I'm happy that baseball is
What
like
it need
back in everyone's
I've
good
always
graces.
said, that, it's not a coincidence that basketball didn't matter and the NBA didn't matter in the 70s, and then it suddenly did matter once you had Bird versus Magic, and then Michael Jordan took it from there. And same goes, football, NFL mattered in the 60s, but it really popped once the Steelers and Cowboys broke out. And so on some level, what you need is, and boxing for that matter, Ali and Frazier and Ali, maybe the Dodgers, what we need now is a constant to go against them in the postseason. We need someone to rise up now. We thought it was going to be the Mets, maybe the Phillies, maybe your Yankees, but somebody needs to rise up to challenge the Dodgers. Then again, maybe it's a moot point because we have one more season to go, and then there's, by all accounts, there's going to be a lockout and
Yep.
things will be revised at that point. But yeah, I agree with you. Dynasties are good for sports because they put a marker. You're witness to something that will stand the test of time theoretically, and that is more meaningful, even in the moment. Like, yeah, that team won this year, but then that team won last year, but then 3 years ago, another team altogether won. That seems neat. Like, good for that sports town to get to celebrate and get their turn. That's not good. In fact, I have on social media right now, I didn't mean to promote this, but it is funny that people in society, communism doesn't work as a political strategy because people get in the way of it. It's too high-minded. It's idealized people trying to make it go when in fact it's real people doing it. That's why the NFL is compelling, because Woody Johnson is a human being and is fallible, and so is Jimmy Haslam. And if it weren't for them, your number in the NFL would just eventually come up theoretically. Like, it's just like you have a hard cap, like just a matter of time. Your turn will come up unless you have really bad ownership that just keeps getting in the way and keeps mucking things up.
Well, and to also not totally crap on the Dodgers like I have been doing it's not their fault that we're heading towards this lockout because we don't have a hard cap like the NFL. Like, a large part of the problem is unfortunately like 23 teams in the Major League Baseball that just refuse to spend money. Like this offseason, especially
The Pirates are as
I didn't
culpable,
name you guys,
if not more.
Yeah, but
I mean, that's
they're part of the
true.
whole group, and we'll see what happens. Like, to me, I would vomit if I was a Detroit Tigers fan, and you hear like, oh, we're far apart in a contract with Tarek Skubal, who's like, if it's not Yamamoto, like the best pitcher in AL, if not all baseball, and you're like, yeah, we're far apart in a contract, like we're gonna hit the market. It's like, you just made the playoffs with them, and then you want to sell off parts. Like, that's not how it should be going. You should be keeping these players locked up forever. Like, that is, like, if he moves to a contender, that changes everything for the baseball season next year. And like you said, Woody Johnson, like trading away Sauce Gardner, who, like, by all accounts, I'm pretty sure since he came in the league, like lowest amount of receptions and yards at the cornerback position since like he was drafted. Like, he's been phenomenal. He's been locked down. Yes, the team's awful, and I guess moving him away to free up some money and get some draft picks, I guess you can kind of make sense. Like, in NFL, it does make more sense because, like you're saying, it's a hard cap and there's a draft. Baseball's such a crapshoot, and you have a guy who's an ace, who's a Cy Young winner, to get rid of him so he can go to one of the handful of teams that are going to spend money. Like, it's that's why it stinks, and that's why we're heading towards the lockout.
It's just, I mean, under the most extreme circumstances aside, trading away Hall of Fame level talent is not a good idea. I mean, even if hey, we got something back for him. I guess if that cat in whatever sport is not coming back and you only have 6 more weeks left with him and we're not going to the playoffs or we're not a viable contender, we can get something for him before he walks out the door. Then I guess it makes some sense. But man, I would not be, I'm sure Jets, but that's the game though too, is that now Jets fans can stop obsessing about what's happening right now and look ahead to a brighter day. That's what that's the magical game that just keeps happening with some of these things. Browns fans stay in it too. Like, next year we're going to get the quarterback, and now Jets fans can play that game too. Anyway, good times, Eddie Spaghetti. Good times with Kevin Hench, as always. I knew it would be a good one. Talking World Series. A lot of people dropping us a line. We appreciate you doing that. We appreciate you sticking with Shek Show. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you find your audio podcasts. and watch along if you like looking at my ugly Punim and Eddie Spaghetti's more handsome visage. I won't weigh in on Kevin Hench's looks. He's an old man. That wouldn't be kind. But do please keep following us on YouTube and do the same if you don't mind for Football America. Going well over on Lebitard there. We had Joey Molinaro on the most recent episode, and we had John Hamm, and we had Pablo Torre, and some real good guests. Chris Long coming up at the end of the week. So make sure you're checking that one out. Our pal Jeff Schwartz is on every Monday there. We appreciate you following that along. Shifting gears, Kevin Hench's show. Make sure you're checking it all out. And Eddie Spaghetti, delightful in his angst on social media. Make sure you're following him there. And we'll be back sooner rather than later. Until then, thanks so much, sports fans. It's been a thin slice of heaven.